Hi everyone, I'm going to help you through the practice test, just the 1 through 15 right now, and then the next video I'll do 16 through 30, and I'm hoping this will help you to be successful. So this is Secondary Math 1, Term 1. It's a practice test that we've made here at Hunter High School, and I hope this helps. So the first thing we want to do is solve on number 1. It's asking us, it says we've got two variables on the same side of the equation. That means that I'm going to just combine like terms. I have a 7p minus 3p is going to give me 4p minus 8 equals 4. So to solve now, this is multiplied and this is add or subtract. So again, we're going to use PEMDAS backwards. So we're solving. So anything add or subtract, we're going to move first. So we're going to add 8 to both sides. 4p is going to equal to 12. And then the opposite of multiplying, 4 times p, we're going to divide by 4. So p is 3. Moving on to the next question, number 2 says, what equation represents the correct first step? And the first step is that we would distribute. 3 times f is 3f. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12 equals 18. And so that's why A is the correct answer. Looking at number 3, we have Joseph from solving the equation this. If he solved it correctly, which of these would result in the final step? So this time we have 3x minus 6 and x minus 8. Notice that the variable x, that we have 1 on each side of this equals. So right here, these were on the same side on number 1. So I combine like terms, but over here I'm solving. So I have to move it across the equal sign. So if that's a positive x, I'm going to subtract x to the other side. 3 minus 1 makes this now 2x minus 6 equals negative 8. I want x by itself, so that it said minus 6, I'm going to add 6. 2x equals negative 2. And that's actually where we get to stop. Even though we would solve by dividing by 2 and saying it's negative 1, it's asking for this. Okay, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. I'm going to start with the easiest way. First of all, if you have a calculator, you can see that that's plus 3/5, so I'm going to subtract 3/5. And so we would have x over 2 equals negative 7/10 using my calculator. And then this says to do times 2, which is technically 2 over 1. And so that's negative 14/10. If I hit math, enter though, that's negative 7/5. That's the easiest way to do that. Number 5, we said that x plus 6, right, we usually do PEMDAS, right, where we add or subtract away first, but this is closest. Technically, there's a parentheses that's there, and so the parentheses is the closest thing, so we can't do that. So the first thing we have to do is get rid of this divide by 4 by multiplying by 4 on both sides, giving me x plus 6 equals 8. And now I have x plus 6. The opposite of plus 6 is to subtract 6, and so x equals 2. Moving on to number 6, it says Michelle is saving her money to buy a brand new skateboard. The board she wants is a longboard which cost $800. So that's our total, equals $800. So this one doesn't even have an equal, so we know it's not that one. Then it says she already saved $100. So $100 is a set that she's already done. This says we have to do 5 times the 100. We're not going to have that either. And the last one says her goal is to save enough money to pay off the board in 7 weeks. So she's going to save money every week, right? And so we want that 7 times the week. And so that's why B is the correct answer. Number 7 says Matt's car gets an average of 25 miles per gallon. There are 10 gallons of fuel in his car when he starts the trip of 150 miles. How many gallons are left? So that is kind of the key. How many gallons are left? That's the key question there. So we're going to start with 10 gallons, okay? But it doesn't tell us how many gallons he used. So we have to figure out how much he used by taking how many miles divided by miles per gallon. That's going to tell us that he used 6 gallons. Be careful though, because that's an answer, but that's not what we want. It says that we started with 10 gallons. So we started with 10 gallons, and it said we used 6 gallons. So of course we're going to have to subtract to find out how many are left, right? How much is left? 10 minus 6 is 4 gallons. So that's why B is the correct answer. Number 8 says the bill for parts and labor was $375. So that's the total. So it's not $285. It's not a negative, and it's not $215. If you understand that, you are already done with your answer. But let's see why. So then it says the cost is $215 for parts. That's just straight up a cost, right? And then right here this says the cost of labor is $30 per hour. So that's why we have 30 times X, $30 per hour plus a flat rate equals the total. Looking at number 9, we have the equation volume equals length times width times height. And they want us to get the length all by itself. So this is our literal equations. We just want to see how can we get L by itself. Well, length is multiplied times width and height. So I have to divide by width and height. Once we cancel it out, volume divided by width times height is the length. And so that's why C is the correct answer. Moving on to number 10, we've got 5x plus y equals 3. I want to get y by itself because it says solve for y. So if I want y by itself, that says plus 5x. I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. And y, so that's not a 3x, that's just a 3. So I have a negative 5x and a positive 3, which is why it's B. The next one says solve for x. So we have x, this is multiplied, and add and subtract. So we can get rid of the add and subtract first by subtracting 5. 3x is less than, I believe that's negative 18, or negative 27. I'm glad I looked. And so then I want to get x by itself. It says negative 3 times x. When I divide by a negative, I'm going to put a star right there. If you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to switch that sign. So it's now x is now greater than, and a negative divided by negative is a positive. X is greater than 9 is the correct answer. Looking at number 12, we would subtract 5. And 5x is less than negative 40. And right here, students will say, Miss Cooper, this is coming out to a negative answer, but you didn't divide by a negative, so it's going to stay less than. And so that's why my answer is C. All right, looking at number 13, we have to first get our y's together. So it's a positive 2y. I'm going to subtract 2y. So that I have a negative 1y minus 15 is greater than or equal to 3. Then I'm going to add 15 to both sides, giving me a negative y is greater than or equal to 18. And then right here, when I divide by a negative, I'm going to put a little star. When you multiply or divide by a negative, that switches the sign. So it's no longer greater than, it's not going to be less than or equal to negative 18. And so that's why the answer is C. First of all, the equal sign meant included. So it's either going to be A or C. It couldn't have been B or D because of that little equal to, okay? And then because this is facing to the left, when the variable's on the left, this tells me the direction. Plus, anything less than negative 18 would be like negative 19, negative 20. Number 14, we have that you're saving for a bicycle, and so far you have $40, so that's our flat rate. The bicycle costs $200, so that's going to be what we're equal to, and you're going to earn $8 an hour. Now, if you look, all the answers are already pretty much given, but the question is it equal to or is it not equal to? Could I buy the bicycle if I had $200? Yes, so equal is an option. Could I buy it if I only had $100? No, so less than is not going to work. It's got to... This $8 per hour plus 40 has to be equal to 200 or more than. So I'm going to subtract 40. It's going to give me 8. H is greater than or equal to 160. And then when I divide by 8, I get H is greater than or equal to 20. And so that's why D is the correct answer. One more question on this video. So right here we want to get X by itself. So I have to first get rid of this negative 2, so I'm going to add 2 on each section. So I have a negative 8 is less than or equal to 4x is less than 12. And then because that's times 4, I'm going to divide everything by 4. So negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And those symbols, so if it's equal to, that's why I'm going to have a equal to negative 2 and not equal to 3. And so it's going to look like this one, B.